Hi everyone. So in this video, we're going to go through a user research workflow that uses QoQo.AI as a UX companion. So the main problem that QoQo tackles is either uh, non-existing or limited resources for user research. So it could be that could be in form of limited time, or that there's no budget for research, or it could be that there's a tight timeline. So as designers, we've all gone through this, or we've faced it. This problem, we faced it at some point in our professional experience. And just to preface my walkthrough, this workflow does not replace the actual human-centric interaction or research. Like if you have the chance or the time or the budget, please go ahead and do that. But you could also use the AI generated results uh, as a knowledge graph or a engine to give you a starting point where you can then enrich with your own research outcomes. So again, this workflow or any AI interaction that or moving forward as AI creeps into a workflow, designers' critical thinking would always be required. So don't just depend on AI outcome or insights. You have to apply your own critical thing. Same applies to when you're talking to stakeholders or when you're doing just a regular Google search. You need still coming across a paper or something or a research. You need to read that paper, but again, you need to apply your critical thinking. So there's no one size fits all, of course. Um, but I want to say also why Coco. So there's tools out there that tackles in a way the same. There's numerous tools out there that tackles the same issue. But of course, there's this ChatGPT, for example. Okay, but in the case with ChatGPT is that you need to memorize prompts, and many of the prompts out there are not really that of quality. Okay, so they don't produce the result, and they would require a lot of time and effort and maybe technical knowledge from you to be able to uh, modify it or rectify it to your use case. That's one thing. The other thing, if you're using ChatGPT, the free version, it's not private. So any information that you provided, it's going to be shared. It's going to be used to refine the model. In case of Coco, we don't retain or we don't share any of the information that is provided to Coco, and we don't use it to train any models. Also, in case of Coco, it saves you the hustle of by working directly in your design tools. In this case, at the moment, it's just Figma. Maybe there's other ways, or could be that we integrate it with other tools in the future, but that it saves you time. If you work in Figma or FigJam, it just works there. So you don't have to do copy paste or work between multiple screens and so on. It's just, and especially if you're in co-creation or collaboration sessions with the team members or the client, it just works within your workflow. Okay, so with that said, we can go ahead and start going through the workflow. I'll start by showing you how to get Coco for those who haven't yet experienced Coco. So first you go to either the community, or if you have a Figma file open, you go to plugins tab here. You search for Coco. You get it here. In my case, I've already installed it. I run it. Takes time to load. Okay, so in my case, I've signed up already. So I have access. I'm not going to go through the sign up process, but just a quick highlight of what exactly is there. So there's the chat assistant. So basically, you can use that for brainstorming. There's product brief. So if you want to get exposed to the challenges and the risk before you actually start working on any of the products, then that's maybe something that you can use. Also, there's user interviews, so that provides you with a guide on the question. So instead of going online trying to find templates and trying to customize those templates to your use case, you can use AI to or use QoQo to get some guide on draft questions, a starting point, basically. There's also persona generation, user persona generation. Think of it as a proto persona, or it could be, if you like, it could be the persona. But again, please do uh, uh, as much as possible try to have a human-centric research in the process. User journey mapping. So if you want to explore the phases that this specific persona goes through interacting with a specific product that you're building or service, this is something that you would need to explore. On the design side, or the second phase of the double diamond process, there's the UX copywriting. So if you wanna, if you're working on a product, you wanna have some suggestion on the copy that you wanna use. It could give you several suggestions, and you pick the one that you like. So again, coming back to the point where I mentioned that use AI or QoQo as a suggestion engine rather than just the something that you take for as for granted. There's also a design checklist. So if you have no idea about, okay, what are the elements or the components that goes into the final design, you can go feed QoQo with the page that you're designing, and it would output, the components that you should consider within your tool. So if we're focusing today, with our focus today is basically the first phase of the double diamond, so the first diamond, or the research and discovery stage. Okay, so this is our focus today, and we can start by, it could be that you have a brief, okay, but in my case, I don't want to share any of my clients' private data, so basically I'm going to find this website that provides fake briefs or fake clients. It's called fakeclients.com, and it generates fake briefs. In this case, this is a clothing store, and they are going through digital transformation. They are looking for a UX designer. They have a large selection of clothing, designer shoes, accessories. They want to build an online store or a web shop. They want to maximize our effort to regulate our customer needs better. They stand for luxury, efficiency, and honesty. Also represent through both physical, and so that's something that they want to reflect on the online store. Way easily effective, so they needed is an easy and effective design, and so on. So not to go into too much into the details. So yeah, that's the typical digital transformation of a luxury brand, okay, clothing brand. So if we want to tackle this, it could be, yeah, we do kickoff sessions with the stakeholders, understand their pains and so on, understand what they know about the users. But it could be the case that there's no budget for that, or and in most cases, the stakeholder vision, specifically or especially in this case, that could be true. The vision of the stakeholder, it does not reflect the truth on the ground. Okay, so they have some assumptions, but in reality, those assumptions are not maybe viable, they're not valid, and so on. And there's no budget to run maybe an assumption, exercise or uh, so you want as a designer to gain quick access to knowledge about the users. Okay, so let's say we go to Figma. Okay, we start by doing a persona exercise. So let's say, oh, they've given us some information that their target audience is 25 to 34 years old, let's say Australian, um, luxury clothes shopper. Okay. The scenario is so basically the scenario is how they are going to use the service. In our case, the service is a web shop. Okay, so you could say that I want to use an online web shop to um, buy luxury clothes, shoe, and let's see what else. Designer shoes, designer clothing, and accessories. Okay, so we can copy that. Let me just move this here. To buy. Okay, and we hit generate. So what happens is it starts generating that fictional persona uh, in a text format. Okay, which in some cases is helpful. You can copy while it's generating. You can stop it if you're not happy with the results, if you're reading through the results and you're not happy. Okay. But the good thing is after it's done, it generates the persona on your in your Figma file or FigJam file. So basically, it gave that fake persona a name, the quotation or the coda, the code. Sorry. Then it would give us as an output the user goals. Okay, and also it allows you to add your own enrich with your own findings. So you've uh, after you've done that, you probably just explore the persona, you understand more about the persona, you go ahead and you do your own research, maybe you want to enrich that. So it gives you few empty sticky notes where you can go ahead and add your own insights or outcomes from the research. So basically, it generated the user goals, the needs, motivations, and frustrations, tasks, and it also adds opportunities. So let's pick any one of those just to see if it's actually relevant to our use case. So as a user or this specific persona, I want to find the latest designer collections online. So yeah, that's one of the goals. I want to purchase authentic designer. So authenticate is key. It's important that it's authentic. So yeah, explore variety of luxury products, find perfect outfit, compare prices, receive excellent customer service, and so on. So those are the user goals, needs, motivations, frustrations, and in many cases, what I found by experience working on actual products, it that QoQo uncovers many hidden insights. I don't want to go into details because those are private information, but on each of those categories, you'll find that there's a couple of insights that are very specific, that are hidden, that even, I want to say this, but even, by interviewing users, in many cases, you would not be able to extract it. Yeah, I mean, that's the reality of it. So again, it's as I said, it could be a knowledge graph that would give you And again, you have to explore it with the customer. So if you have a session with the customer, you can bring it up. Oh, and this is something that you can bring it up in a form of insight that you want to validate with the customer. Okay, could be that it incites a business idea. In my case, had a customer with a specific business, and one of the insight actually that was generated by QoQo gave them an idea to expand the business into a specific product type that they were not aware of it. Okay, so I want to highlight or call out at the end the opportunities. So this is something that we have added as an extension to the usual persona exercise, just to give that segue to how would that impact the actual product. Okay, how do you tie that to the actual product that you or service that you're designing? um, so as an opportunity, you want to discover, or you can highlight the designers and brands, find unique exclusive prices pieces. So if you want to highlight unique pieces, okay, that maybe that specific store is running a collaboration with an influencer or something like that, maybe you want to highlight this. Stay up to date. Personalization, receive personalized recommendations. So yeah, that's something many stores provide, and I like when I go to a store, based on my preferences, personalized what's being recommended in their newsletters. Um, Build a collection of high quality items. Um, Attend exclusive events and sales, join loyalty programs. So this is pretty important if you want to build loyal customers to your store. I know my wife, she uses this all the time. She has in her wallet about 30 loyalty cards and rewards that she collects, and she is always a returning customer. So again, this is goes back to the what I was just mentioned, that this is something that you might not hear in interviews, but it's an important insight that you want to bring up with the client or the stakeholders, that loyalty programs is pretty important for your shop if you want to keep your clients coming back, if you don't want to be just them as first time buyers, if you want them to be convert them into returning and buyers and advocate to your product. Connect with other fashion and so on. So yeah, so you see, so the thing is that I want to add here, in many cases there's several personas, not just one of them. Okay, I'm going to just show you one case where I had three personas, one for a specific platform that I was working on. There was three internal personas and three external personas. Okay, and I was basically working on the MVP to simplify things. I had to create an archetypical persona for those three personas that are QoQo.AI generated and enriched with the actually with the human research. Okay, so what I did is basically I took the insights or the outcomes from QoQo.AI and the research that was done, and I had it in a sheet. I imported it using these plugins that do that imports the content of a sheet or a document as sticky notes to Figma or FigJam, and we're going to be having this feature soon in QoQo. And it does like clustering or affinity mapping, where it looks at the AI results and the insights coming from, or the outcomes coming from the interviews, and it tries to do similarity grouping between. So that would allow you to at the end have this archetypical persona. Okay, that in my case allowed me to have one journey map for the internal user, one journey map for the external user, and then that would feed into the MVP. So rather than building so many experiences, it's not practical in the case of an MVP. Okay, so now I have the persona. Okay, now as a designer, before I go ahead and have the next session with the stakeholders or interview the actual persona, I do have some insights. So that what it does is eliminates any bias that I was fed from talking to just the stakeholders or any designers. We do have, the tendency to have biases. So that exposes me to some insights about the persona. I could go ahead and do user interviews. But if I want to take it to the next step and gain even more exposure to the persona, okay, and how they would interact with uh, um, my product or service, what I could do is go ahead and build a user journey map. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the persona and the scenario outside here, and I'm going to switch to the user journey map. Okay, sorry, I'm going to reset that. So I do have my persona. I'm going to copy it for to the journey map. Okay, and I do have the scenario as well. Soon, this is something that we're working on. You'll have the ability to have a project where you don't have to do the copying. It's going to have that long-term memory where it connects everything that is happening within a single project. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click generate. And we're back. So as you can see, it did the whole journey map. So it did it in, it generated the journey map in a text format, just the raw text format if you want to have it to copy it to a document or something like that. Also, it generated the whole exercise template. So that will allow you to give you a starting point, okay? Or it could give you, if you haven't done the user interviews, for example, it could give you some insights of how would the user interact with your service or product. So looking at here, it has generated the tasks, the mindsets, the pain points, and opportunities. I'm not gonna go through all of them. I'll try to find nuggets of insights that otherwise could have been hidden. It also have, if you notice that it have or it has generated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 phases. Okay, so it's aware that there's phases that the user could go through using your product. So yeah, awareness, for example, awareness phase, that's pretty important for anyone being exposed to a new web shop or a new service or any sort of online product. So they as a user, they're probably going to be browsing the web for designer clothes, shoes and accessories, and so on. But I'm trying to scan really quickly. I'm trying to find nuggets of information. So I'm gonna go and jump to the opportunities. And opportunities, think of them as high-level epics that as a designer, you want to think about, okay, what would be the feature that would achieve or fulfill that opportunity, okay? So for example, thinking about offering a flexible payment option. Oh, so that's a good nugget of information that could lead to you as a designer to discuss with a stakeholder the possibility of something, partnering with a service that offers buy now, pay later, or paying through installments. So you just don't take it for face fact, or you need to, as a designer, to apply your critical thinking and try to think, oh, I want to take that to the next level. Also offer the stakeholder and the user options. Okay, so if this is the first phase of a store, how can we do this? Is this something that we can achieve in an MVP or a first release of a web store, or we need to put it in a backlog if it's too complicated to achieve? Okay. Same for a loyalty program. Okay. How would we do that? Do we how do we count points, how do we implement that in our product, and so on. So that's a good example of how AI could enrich our research, user research. Because thinking of this, for example, offering flexible payment options, I'm thinking this is something, and again, this is an assumption that many users would be reluctant of telling you, oh, we don't have the money to pay, full amount. Okay. So it's a very sticky situation where how would you extract this from someone? Okay. So you need to maybe look at, AI suggestion that would give you, expand your horizon, give you springboard where you can think beyond just the user feedback that you get through your research. Okay. With that, you've that even thinking of it, it could be that you want to follow up with your question in your interviews related to the payment option. Since now this is something that the AI have uncovered for you, maybe you want to go ahead and actually go and ask the user, if this is something that, of course, in a non-leading way or a suggestive way, you want to ask the user maybe, on specific things that matter for the business or for the user. Now that you've been exposed to both the persona and their possible experience working or probable experience working using the product or the service, what you want to do next is designing the actual questions that, or drafting the actual questions that you want to ask them in the interview. So that is where the user interviews comes in. Okay, so you want to switch to the user interviews and go ahead. I'm not sure. Yep, we still have the scenario in place. Okay, and we can type in, I'll try to type it in from my memory, 45 Australian online shopper, was it? I don't remember the exact persona. What was it? Oh, it's actually here. So, yep, we can copy it from here, add it here, and there you go. So topics, next is topics. You have the possibility to split your or design your interview around 4 topics. In this case, we've limited to 4 topics because we understand that, interviews are limited. You don't have infinite time to interview someone. You probably have 30 minutes at the lower end, 45 to 60 minutes upper end. Beyond that is probably too much. So having 4 topics of discussion would probably be enough. And we have some suggestions in the boxes. So you probably want to understand, know about the persona, which is, again, it's important in many cases. From my experience, knowing special details about the persona would give away, their opinions, why they're biased to specific opinions. So knowing more about the persona, again, helps with the empathy, helps understand why they're answering in a specific way. Topic 2, in our case, it could be, how they currently shop. I mean, do they prefer to shop in physical stores? Do they shop online? So how do they shop? Do they actually use any online stores, and why they, if they don't use it? So it's something that you need to explore if they actually open to shopping online. Topic 3 could be maybe around payment. I don't know. I mean, it's up to you to use the other 3 topics. So maybe, the first one, let's say about the persona. Okay. Topic 2 could be um, how how do they shop for, and keep it relevant to the topic. Okay, so how they shop for luxury clothes and shoe. Topic 3. Um, I honestly haven't gone through the needs, and but topic 3 could be um, challenges, needs. What would uh, what would drive them to shop online? Okay, for example, uh, what so the for the fourth topic, we chose the wish list as a topic, because we understand that at the end of it's to end the interview on a light ice breaking, not an ice breaking, light, um way. You want to ask the interviewee about the wish list. Okay, so that's why we use the term wish list. So basically, you can what would they like to see in an online store? And again, you need to take your time to refine your input. Okay, and again, I'm going to hit generate. And as you can see, it's basically suggesting some questions um, that you can copy from here to a document. And this is basically my workflow: is I can go ahead and copy the output, put it in a document, and I start working on refining and adding my designer's touch to it. So as you can see, it even suggested an introduction to the call, okay, or the interview. Then few questions about the persona. I'm going to try and skip that to maybe something that is more significant, like how they shop? Do they shop to for luxury clothes and shoe? Okay, so the question: what criteria do you use when shopping for designer? So that's a pretty good question, because and it's not leading, so you're not leading them from the get-go on, oh, we want to take the discussion to online. No, we want to ask them about the whole shopping experience, physical, both physical and online. So what is the criteria that they look for when they're shopping for clothes or shoes? um, how do they decide which product to buy? Again, non-leading question that would give us insight on what criteria or what's the method of deciding the product. It could be, let's say they say, oh, the presentation or the price, for example. So that for us is a carryover that we can use on an online store, that would, oh, we need to highlight the price or the discount. Let's say they say, if it's something in a discount, then I probably want to go ahead and buy it, for example. So yeah. Do you read reviews? Oh, so that's pretty important from my experience. The social proofing of any service or a product, that's key. Like, I've had numerous cases where the number one thing that users do after visiting someone store or marketing website is that they look for reviews. So social proofing is pretty important. So again, that's something that might not have crossed my mind as a designer working on a interview draft, but AI helped me to, or has uncovered this to me, okay, that, oh, you need to ask about where does online reviews sit within the experience. Okay, uh, And it goes on. So again, that's not the definitive guide. It's something that I could, as a designer, use to build the actual interview. And then of course, this, as I said, it changes from one case to another. The amount of uh, insights that the AI could give me that would help me. Of course, I could take this, collaborate with other designers. In my case, I've done that where I've collaborated with the rest of the on the team, but it started with this draft. Okay. So yeah, so that would be how we could leverage AI in our workflow as designers who are striving to stay relevant within, the tide of AI tools. And this allows us to not just be uh, you know um, not just someone who is using AI and putting their trust, all the trust AI. No, you can go ahead and do your own research, and this is what we advise you to do or suggest that you do. Uh, but this saves you time. Like in my experience, in many cases, it could save somewhere from 50 to 80% of time that I, let's say, used to search for questions or templates of questions that I want to use on my project. Okay, so that gives me a pretty good start, a solid ground to work from. Finally, I want to go over some of the features that we are going to be introducing pretty soon to QoQo. So we're currently working on information architecture. I've mentioned affinity mapping or clustering, as well as something that could help a lot with the finding similarities within a group of feedbacks. Also long-term memory and projects, document analysis, something that we've heard from many of our users that they want also to include, where you upload a PDF of or a Word document of a user interview, and it extracts the challenges, pain points. So a lot of manual work being automated. It's not that it's a replacement. No, you'd be uploading a group of document that is the actual user interviews, and the AI would basically extract the insights from those documents. So yeah, this is all what we had today. If you have any feedback or suggestion, please reach out to us. I'll leave our email in the description below. Also the link to where you can find QoQo and our website. Also, please leave a comment in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.